It's Bloomberg Brief. I'm Manish Krenny alongside Danny Berger here in New York. It's a huge week for earnings, and big tech is the big focus, along with big pharma. Mandeep Singh and Sam Fazeli join us for a discussion from Bloomberg Intelligence on these earnings. Let's kick it off with you, Mandeep. On Google, getting a boost pre-market trading. It looks like they've done really, really well in terms of the cloud revenue up 35%. But what else stands out for you? Because there is some question around the YouTube. So if we balance it out, you got cloud, you got search. Apart from that, what stands out for you?
I mean, on every line, it was a very solid quarter. And when it comes to YouTube, YouTube subscriptions actually grew 28%. I know people focus on the ad side because, that's a separate line and it's 12%. Very impressive growth rate. But YouTube subscriptions, compare that to Netflix, growing at mid-teens. That just goes to show how well YouTube is doing. And then core search. I mean, that is still the profit driver. And what they told us is AI overviews is lengthening the duration and the engagement of the search. So that's translating into real ad dollars. And that's generative AI at scale. And what else can you ask for?
And you pointed out that a quarter of code being written at Google, of new code, is AI, which is just a wild figure to think about. I mean, Mandeep, we're in this point where everyone's plowing money into AI. They're using it more. And it feels like the competition's getting really intense. I know Microsoft accused Google last week of shadow campaigns and funding lobby groups to undermine their position with regulators. Just how intense is this competition?
I mean, there's no doubt that, code completion is one of the big use cases of generative AI, and Google doing it at scale means that you're not going to see the big headcount increases we saw back in 2021 with these big tech companies. They are operating very efficiently. Even on the CapEx front, they didn't have any surprises. It was in line with expectations. So you can see operating leverage in this business and, the company, the way it's operating. If the search business continues to execute, you saw a significant margin expansion last night, and I think that will likely continue here.
Well, the CapEx numbers are music to NVIDIA's ears of 13 billion, and certainly a beat. The question is then, does Alphabet encroach and close the gap with Amazon and Microsoft? Because that's one of the debates that we've had for the past couple of quarters. They were lagging on a number of fronts. Do you think that gap is closing?
Yeah, it was a very nice acceleration from 29% growth in 2Q to 35%. And, for a run rate business of around 44 billion, that's where cloud is at. I mean, they were always a distant three with Amazon at 105 billion and Microsoft at 80 billion. They are growing much faster. Right. And that's primarily driven by AI and also the availability of NVIDIA GPUs. Remember, Microsoft and Amazon are getting the same NVIDIA GPU allocation, but Microsoft is probably using more of that GPU in-house for OpenAI training, whereas Google, because they have their own TPU chip, they can add more of the NVIDIA GPUs for cloud revenue. And that's, I think, what's driving that acceleration in cloud growth.
Can we just round this out with Meta and what you're expecting today from them?
I mean, ads continue to be very strong. And that's what we heard from Reddit last night, Snap. So ad print was very solid. The only caveat with Meta is they are more exposed to the Chinese advertisers, Temu and Shein. And they seem to be paring back this quarter. So that may have a bearing on the extent of the beat, but I still expect a beat when it comes to Meta.
Mandeep, thank you as always. This was wonderful. That is Bloomberg Intelligence Senior Tech Analyst Mandeep Singh. Also coming this morning, Eli Lilly. Investors will be closely watching for updates on its blockbuster obesity shot, Zepbound. Let's get back to Sam Fazeli, our Bloomberg Senior Pharmaceuticals Analyst. Sam, any chance of another upgrade? What are we going to get from Eli Lilly today?
Well, so today's story is, I think, gonna be, the question is, will it be another upgrade after 2 quarters in a row of upgrades? Our current feeling is that that's unlikely, but, this is Zepbound, this is obesity, anything is possible. They have recently launched vials as opposed to pens for the product in the US, so maybe the uptake of that has been a lot faster than expectations. So let's see. But I've had to write some of these numbers down because this is an amazing story so far this year. So in January, they told us a 32% operating margin for the year, midpoint. In Q1, they raised that to 34. In Q2, they raised that to 38. You want to talk about operating leverage, as you were talking about earlier with Alphabet? Here's operating leverage for you, right? And of course, that's why people are so excited about Eli Lilly, and the obesity space is driving significant growth.
I mean, their product is Zepbound, as you say. Just put the context for 2025. What kind of growth in the GLP-1s are we expecting in 2025? Because this still seems as if we're in the infancy of growth rather than anywhere near mid-cycle maturity.
Well, yeah, so 2025, I think we will see another similar several $1 billion of revenue growth for Zepbound and Mounjaro. Of course, it's only called Zepbound in the US, from what I understand. The interesting thing here, Manas, is that if you look at consensus estimates, you look at the PE multiple of the company, you look at consensus estimates, if consensus is right, this is a stock that's supposed to go from EPS of just over 6.3 in 2023 to $55 in 2030. Now, I don't know how many other companies there are out there where analysts are expecting that sort of growth on the bottom line. And a lot of that obviously is revenue growth with continued margin expansion, maybe possibly getting to 50%. And 2025 is quite important for that because there are drugs that are reporting in 2025, which are some of the key elements of helping drive that growth and keeping Eli Lilly competitive amongst this plethora of other companies that are trying to eat into that market.
Sam, you're one of the best. Thanks for joining us. Sam Fazeli there. Thank you so much.